Well, so we have to do the news now, and we'll bring you the latest update.
Well, the adverse effects of upholding a tradition that bars their pregnant women from delivering on their land compel them to start a hospital project to save mother and child.
However, 10 years on, the hospital remains uncompleted due to lack of funds. And these are some of the issues captured in our latest Hotline documentary, Land of No Birth. And speaking to Joy News, MFA Ewenam Tiamo Eli, Dove community leaders said if government failed to assist them to complete the project, they would not vote for any politician anymore.
The hospital is located about 1.5 kilometers on the outskirts of Dover Township. This is because of a taboo that forbids pregnant women from having their babies on the land. Apart from being fined for disobeying the taboo, the women fear their babies will be mentally retarded if they give birth in the town.
Sometime before you get to your destination, you become overly exhausted as a result of the severe labor pains, and when the time comes for you to push, the baby itself looks very tired and weak when it finally drops. We are suffering, so when your baby is due, you must do your best to leave the town in time to look for transportation before the labor pains become severe and unbearable.
Having started the project 10 years ago, work stalled at the roofing stage. Weeds have since taken over the otherwise brilliant project to help alleviate the plight of expectant mothers of Dover and surrounding communities. Maybe health professionals could have helped, but the taboo prevents them.
Because of this tradition, we cannot add the maternity unit. And if even we added the maternity unit, they will not allow us to bring a midwife, which is not the best. So it negates all the efforts we are making to reduce maternal mortality and, for that matter, improve maternal health care in all communities.
According to residents, since their main livelihood was taken away from them as a result of the creation of the Akosombo Dam, their sources of income have dwindled. They say the situation has compelled the youth to leave town in search of greener pastures. This they blame for their inability to raise funds to complete the project.
There is no meaningful job for us here to do. Not a single job by the government. Prayer Volta has acquired acres of land from us, but it is lying there waste. They've stopped farming, and we've been left here to starve.
Currently, pregnant women in labor have to travel to Sogakope or Bato to access a health facility or go to a traditional birth attendant in a nearby community to be able to give birth.
Now, for the final part of this documentary, tune in to join you 6:30 p.m. today for all the details. Now, let's move on to some other stories. Residents of the Agotima traditional area, a Kente production hub in the Agotima Ziope district of the Volta region, have launched an initiative to commercialize production of the woven cloth in the area.
And this will also see the establishment of a Kente village to serve as a one-stop center for designing the cloth, its production, as well as marketing. The Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Archibald Lecha, who cut sword for the commencement of the project, indicated government was extending support as part of the MPP's agenda for establishing one district, one factories across the board.
Kente weaving is a major source of livelihood in the Agotime traditional area, with over 2,000 residents engaged in the trade. The business hasn't, however, blossomed into the anticipated industry due to lack of market channels. The initiative is therefore expected to create a channel to market Agotime-produced Kente to the outside world. It is expected to cost 2.4 million cedis and would be financed with funds from Kente festival celebrations. The Volta Regional Minister, Archibald Lecha, indicated establishment of the Kente village, when implemented effectively, would contribute to raise the income level of residents.
When completed, can be linked to many marketing platforms both local and international. And it is a cause that should be vigorously pursued to connect Agotime to the rest of the world. Togbeo, Mamao, my brothers and sisters, our low level of business ethics needs to change. The many business opportunities associated with the Kente and tourism industry are huge. The time has come for a paradigm shift and the need to bold initiatives.
The corner of Agotime traditional area, Nene Nwe Keteku III, said, though the initiative was captured in the 2014 national budget, the erstwhile Mahama government failed to see it through.
Today marks an important milestone in our marketing, our cultural heritage, and opening up Agotime and in that matter, the Volta region for tourism investment. The Kente village project is a deliberate effort by the people of Agotime to project the Volta region and for that matter, Ghana as a preferred destination for eco-tourism. This project has been on the drawing board for a considerable period. And in fact, it was started in the 2014 national budget of Ghana. But unfortunately, it has not been brought fruition.
When fully completed, it would house a gallery, an office, an ICT lab, lockable stores, a restaurant, a conference hall, and an academy to train individuals in Kente weaving. The first phase of the project is expected to be completed after 12 months. Fred Kwame Asari's report for Joy News.
President Akufo-Addo has tasked the newly sworn-in Council of State, chaired by Nana Otuo Srebo II, to advise him on what they make of the creation of new regions for the country.
Well, the creation of at least one region out of the Western region is a campaign promise. And as you well know, a Minister of State has been tasked with that responsibility, but the president still wants to know the take of his council members.
Article 91(3) of the Constitution gives the council what appears to be an unfettered remit to advise other bodies like Parliament or any other authority. In my view, this is not meant to be a busybody charter, but on matters of significant national importance, the council can let its views be known. There is, though, an important specific function which the Constitution has conferred upon the council. The council is to advise the president on the suitability or otherwise of the creation of a new region. The council's advice is an integral part of the process for creating new regions. This function is certainly going to be exercised during my presidency.
In other news, the Minister of Gender, Children and Social Protection, Otikwa Afisa-Jaba, has stated she will ensure policies initiated by her predecessor, Nana Oyeletha, are implemented.
She's been outlining her vision for the minister at a media engagement Monday here in Accra.
My vision is to create a happy Ghana. I'm very proud to be a Ghanaian. I feel that every Ghanaian child, adult, has a dream, and that dream must be fulfilled. So I want to see, especially the girl child, in school. Every child of school-going age must be in school. There must be an end to early childhood marriage. There must be an end to discrimination, especially against persons with disability and challenges. A lot of the disability comes from birth or from an accident or from age. Like, I can't read without my glasses. And so we're all going to grow old. So it's important that we don't discriminate against persons who are not as able as others. And we shouldn't see disability as a problem. We should rather look at their abilities and enable them to find work. In that regard, we've had a national dialogue with persons with disability to see how we can improve upon or reform the law in line with the SDGs as well as the international laws that Ghana is a signatory to.
Lots of policies were initiated during the No Yearly Thirst time. I remember the child policy, the youth, gender, the interstate succession law, a lot of them. Which of them are you going to pick up and run with? Are you leaving some? Are you going to add on? How soon are you going to see a lot of things?
We are not going to leave anybody out. You cannot leave out any policy. And especially with the affirmative action bill, the president spoke about it during the State of the Nation address. Some of them have elapsed like it. And so we are going to renew the dates and re-present to Cabinet for approval. And I'm hoping to achieve this in March.
Joy News has uncovered questionable payments at the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission. And among these is a transfer of some 430,000 Ghana cedis into the personal account of the Executive Secretary of the Commission, Samuel Sapong. In the first of a series of reports of an audit of financial records at the Commission, Joy News Kwete Nate reports the queries include payments described as protocol cash for the Asantehene Otumfosi to the second.
Amount in question, 435,087 cedis, was part of 1,225,000 cedis paid by the 5 major utility companies to the PURC for the 2013 tariff review hearings nationwide. This money was supposed to be lodged in the account of the PURC, but documents cited by Joy News indicate that 271,500 cedis was paid into the personal account of the Executive Secretary of PURC, Samuel Sapong. Details of the deposit voucher reveal the money was paid on the 16th February 2013 at the Gulf House branch of ADB. Former head of finance at PURC, Isaac Hassan, who made the payment into the account, said he did this on the instructions of the Executive Secretary.
I'm only an employee and I take instructions. There was a workshop that money needed to be transferred, and the Chief Executive volunteered that the money should be paid into his account. So he gave us the account number and the branch to pay in. And I did just that as a lawyer worker.
Under what circumstances did the Chief Executive ask you to go and pay the money into his account?
The workshop was taking place on a Saturday, and as at Friday by about 5 p.m. we had not got the money. So we took this money and paid in on a Saturday into that account. The account is not for me. How could I have just walked in and pay money into somebody else's account without instruction? It is not possible. I'm a professional.
A second payment of 163,587 cedis was also made into Mr. Sapong's Gulf House account on the 7th June 2013. Mr. Hassan tells me, though it's not the norm, his boss thought it was convenient.
Yes, it was money that was withdrawn from Ghana Commercial Bank.
And I understand that this was part of monies that was allocated for the public hearings.
That is correct.
So such a money, how does a chief executive get someone to pay monies meant for a certain program into his personal account? Is that the norm?
No, it was just, I would say, a convenient way of conveying the money on a weekend.
In 2015, 1.7 million cedis was paid by the utility companies to support the major tariff review hearing nationwide. A senior staff at ECG tells Joy News some of the monies were paid in cash to the PURC for the public hearings.
No one paying check. I mean, only this particular one, the last one we are talking about, is where some were given in the form of a cash and some were in the form of checks. Because of the situation at that time, we were informed that time is of the extension already started the program, and so we visited in checking to take on time for them to withdraw before paying those who are working for them to give them. So we did that and some transfer to them quickly in cash for the purposes of that particular emergency situation.
The records cited by Joy News also include other questionable payments. An internal memo dated 5th June 2013, intercepted by Joy News, reveals the PURC approved 164,000 cedis to cover expenses of stakeholder consultation on tariff review with chiefs in Kumasi. Key expenses for that program were over 86,000 cedis for per diem and allowances, 32,000 cedis for hotel accommodation, and 20,000 cedis as protocol for Asantehene Otumfuo Seitutu II. Former head of finance at PURC, Isaac Hassan, says some of these practices breach the Financial Regulation Act.
As far as the Financial Administration Regulation is concerned, it is wrong.
Documents in possession of Joy News indicate some of the monies paid by the utilities to support the tariff review hearings cannot be traced to the Commission's account. Joy News sought to speak to officials at the PURC, but they declined comment. Head of PR and External Affairs at PURC, Nanaya Jantwa, says her God will speak for her. For Joy News, Kwete Nati.
And for some of the parts, the Public Utility Regulatory Commission, that's the PURC, is also asking power producers and distributors to explain the recent erratic supply of electricity across parts of Ghana.
Public Affairs Manager Nanaya Jantwa says the regulator has written to the Volta Review Authority and the Electricity Company of Ghana to that effect. She spoke to Love News on the sidelines of a stakeholders meeting in Kumasi, where Nana Yao Jima filed the following report.
The meeting itself was dominated by the recent erratic power outages and the possibility of the country slipping back into the dark days of doomsday. Consumers in Accra, Kumasi, and other parts of the country have experienced frequent outages since the beginning of the year. The claims of load shedding have, however, been dismissed by the utility providers. Nanaya Jantwa, however, appeals to consumers to exercise patience as the Commission takes steps to get explanation from providers.
Written to the utilities to give us an update of what is happening. That is only when we can say what is wrong, because we don't provide electricity. So we are asking them to give us an update. And when that update comes, we will know what the real situation.
Meanwhile, stakeholders are excited about the opportunity to share their challenges about utility services. PURC says it wants power consumers to lead advocacy for regulations to provide separate meters for individual tenants so they can benefit from lifeline intervention.
It will be for separate metering. So it is wired in a way that it is not bulk metering, so that consumers who are within the lifeline can enjoy it. Right now, because of the bulk metering, consumers who are within the lifeline and in compound houses are not enjoying the lifeline. So there should be a push and advocacy for legislation to ensure that there is a law that if I build this house and I say that it's for 5 tenants, everyone should be wired separately and there should be separate metering. And that one, ECG will be forced to give a meter, because then there is no bulk meter for you to pass the power through. So once that legislation is done, I think some of these issues will be resolved. A certain time.
Yeah.
So it means that.
And that's it for the news. Just in case you don't know, we'll bring you a lot more updates as we review the newspapers, and they will all be up next. We'll bring you a lot more updates also as we look at the online portals. MyJoyOnline.com we'll look at first and foremost.
All right, stay with us.
We'll be right back.